I'm in a real conflict apparently these days with some members of the Orthodox community because I said something critical about the Rambam.
The most uninfluential, great, brilliant scholar of Jewish life is the Rambam. Rambam is like Larry Tribe, very smart but wrong about everything. And why was Rambam wrong about everything? First, he said, we don't need interpretations, we don't need pilpul, we don't need Talmud, we don't need any of that. The Torah is simple. It has one meaning, one interpretation, and I know what it is, and so I'll write the Mishneh Torah. And he's right about a lot of things, but it's so arrogant. And then he says, you know what? I'm not going to let only the Catholics have a catechism. I'm going to have a catechism. And so he wrote the Jewish catechism, 13 principles. And if you disagree with any of the 13 principles, you're like a weed. Well, I'm like 9 for 13. Jews don't want a catechism. Jews want to argue and debate. And Rambam was just wrong about that.
And
what did you say? I missed that. What did you say?
What I said was the Rambam was brilliant and one of the most innovative and important Jewish intellectuals, but he wasn't always right. And that his effort to try to discourage Talmudic discourse by writing the Mishneh Torah didn't understand well the nature of Jews, particularly Ashkenazi Jews, who love conflict and dialogue, and we're not particularly interested in definitive answers. We're interested in the process going forward. So I was somewhat critical of the Mishneh Torah and also critical of his 13 principles, as many rabbis, many Orthodox rabbis have been. And so, you know, the Rambam's a very controversial, brilliant man. But boy, when I said anything critical of him, you should hear the responses. They want me to go back to yeshiva. I'm happy. The Rambam, I actually participated in a Harvard class on the Rambam. I'm not an expert on him, but I believe in dialogue and discussion. So I'm happy to continue my discussion and to learn more about Rambam. But remember, Rambam is not Hashem. He's a human being. And human beings not only are fallible, but must be subject to dialogue over the ages. And so,
well, his books. Listen, they burnt his books. Remember, they burnt his books, and
I know I don't burn his books. I want to.
I hope they don't burn your books.
They burned my books. So people are perfectly able to be critical of any of Rashi. People argue Rashi was, too formalistic. I have my favorite Jewish commentators over time, and I have some who are not. I wrote a book about it called The Genesis of Justice, where I divided Jewish commentators into defense attorneys, those who justify everything that every halachic authority has ever said, and those that participate in the dialogue over the generations, which is what has made Judaism so strong. Unlike the Catholic Church, we don't have a pope, and there's no definitive response. Remember, in the Talmud, many resolutions are teku. We're not sure. And the Talmud is the only religious book in early history that preserved dissenting opinions. While the Catholics were burning dissenters and the Muslims were burning dissenters, the Talmud was honoring dissenters by saying, let's include the minority dissenting opinion. Maybe someday there'll be the majority. And so I'm very much in favor of continuing dialogue, including about the Rambam. So
I'm not critical, and the question being critical or having a different opinion, there's a difference between that. But by the way, you will love this. In the Tzibah of Elazon, remember the Tower of Babel that we read about in the Bible, in the Torah? He said it really was a watchtower because they wanted one language, they wanted one thought, and God likes diversity. That's why he had it. It was there to enforce that the only one opinion.
No, in fact, in my book, The Genesis of Justice, I cite that as one of the great midrash interpretations, midrashic interpretations. The Torah has 100 faces, and the Rambam has 100 faces, and people are entitled to say, we love what the Rambam did. His philosophy was extraordinary. His Moreh Nevuchim, A Guide to the Perplexed,
he was brilliant.
Brilliant book, but I'm critical somewhat of trying to lay down 13 invincible principles. And if you disagree with even one of them, you are like a piece of grass in the wind, and you shouldn't be accepted. I don't believe that the Jewish religion should have a cherem or an exclusion or a cancel culture for people who have disagreement. And I'm in the company of many great rabbis who had grave questions about some of the Rambam's efforts and interpretations. And of course, there's great controversy over the Rambam's life itself. And so I think we should continue. I went to the class of Rabbi Isidore Twersky at Harvard University when he gave a class on the Rambam, and we ended up having a dialogue in the front of the class about the 13 principles. And you
believe the Messiah is going to come, right?
Well, I hope.
Of course he's going to come.
Who was the great rabbi who said, if you're tending your field and somebody tells you the Mashiach is here, keep tending the field. There'll be time. So I'm a process person. I want to continue the dialogue. Judaism is too good, too important, and too intellectual to be able to be resolvable by one book.
There's no one opinion. We have Shivim Panim Torah. We have 7 different facets of looking at it. And God likes diversity, and there are many other Torah thoughts like that. But speaking of
Abraham, he didn't criticize God. I'm saying he didn't criticize the Rambam. He criticized God. He said, Chalila lecha, shofei kol haaretz, lo yaseh mishpat, Chalila lecha. If Abraham can say Chalila to God, I can raise questions about some of the Rambam's efforts.
Well, as long as there were other rabbis over the course of time that, like I said, he was controversial when it came out, but today it's more mainstream, it's more accepted. In fact, Chabad is a big supporter. They love Rambam, am I right?
And I got a lot of letters from my Chabad friends saying, come learn with us, do the Rambam with us. Maybe you'll change your mind. Maybe I will. I'm happy. I have an open mind.
Thank you for watching. If you like this content, you like our programs, please like and subscribe, as it helps the channel get these important conversations out there to a larger audience. So please become a supporter of Talk Line with Zev Brenner by liking us, by supporting us, and telling all your friends to watch. Thank you.